Hope not. Because through the middle, Ryan, coming at you from the back shack.
You are a lot more peppy than you were last
Tuesday,
week.
baby. Tuesday. Best Tuesday ever. Best day ever. Best moment ever. Best breath ever.
I agree.
I'm getting better every day in every way. We're getting better every day in every way. You're getting better every day and in every way. Let's go. How about them Chiefs?
How about not?
Oh man, gotta give him a shout out though. Anywho, man. It's been a good week, man. I'm pumped up. I'm ready, raring and ready to go. Feeling it, living it, loving it. Persevering through, rising above. You know what I mean? Can't hold me down. Can't stop me.
Do you have a few monsters today?
Nah, man. Nope. Just had a good workout with my boy. I mean, we got it going on today, man.
That is good.
Good leg workout. It was leg day. And man, that dude brings it, man. That dude is intense, man. Insane. Dude lifts such heavy weight. He'd call it lightweight. You know what I mean?
I can only imagine, dude. He looks so stacked.
I mean,
just visually. I've never seen him in the weight room. I've watched him wrestle on video and stuff, though.
I mean, you should come to the Y, especially on a leg day when he's doing squats, because he did squats today.
Yeah.
And I mean, the entire gym stops when this dude is doing squats to watch this guy. I mean, he's throwing weight.
Yeah.
I mean, he's going up, 400 or 500 pounds on that
like
thing.
it.
Dude, just, I mean.
How fun.
And just knocking it out. I'm like, you know what I mean? I'm dancing. Like, oh my God, this guy's going to freaking fall over here.
You mean like people are judging him kind of?
No, I wouldn't. Well, of course, man.
Well, that's what we talked about last week.
Yeah, I know we did. I think it's more of a matter of, I don't know about judgment, but just that wow factor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just that wow factor. But yeah, you know what I mean? I don't know. Leave me alone on that judgment stuff, man. I don't like judging, man. I don't like judging at all, man. I know it exists. I know it is. And I think there's, like we talked about last week, there's just different types of judgment, man. And I think when people look at judgment, it's like, I don't know. I always feel it's like, I don't want to be judged, so I'm not going to judge you. And I think we're going to be judged based on our judgment of others as well, just the same.
That's what the Bible says.
Exactly. So I don't judge, man.
For the measure that you judge, you will be judged.
Yeah, so I don't want to be judged, man.
Yeah.
And so my judgment is not there. Now there is, like I said last week, there's room for correction. You know what I mean? I need correction. We all do.
Right.
And that's how I kind of take that. But by no means am I going to be condemning you with my little heart, like, oh, I'm so good and so bad. Nah, dude, I need more help than anybody.
That's right.
That's why I got Jesus in my life.
That's it.
I ain't making it without him, man.
That's what points me to him for sure.
And dude, that, my focus is constantly on that too for some reason, man. Just as we move through here, and I think just as times are and things of that nature, it's just like, man, that's just of the utmost importance to me and in that relationship with Christ. Yeah. And I do all I can to build that up and just, I'm
really stuck in
make him my love, my one true love, my only love. You know what I mean?
Right.
Just like you. What
can I do better today than I did yesterday?
Oh yeah.
You know what I mean? And it comes with like our steps, we go through these in recovery, the 12 steps. And part of that is self-reflection at the end of the day.
Always, man.
And I don't know. Nobody can be as hard on me as me.
Yeah.
You can try your hardest and I'll just move on, but it's really hard to move on from yourself.
I'm my own worst critic.
Well, absolutely, I am. I'm hard on myself for sure.
For sure. Like, even comes down to just listening to these shows. I'm like, oh, that was awful. It's awful. Like, I should have done so much better. Than someone will call me and be like, dude, that was like the best one ever. I'm like, man.
I know.
I didn't see it. I've totally missed it. You know what I mean? But that's how hard. And then I'll be like, well, Ryan, you were awesome. I sucked. And you're like, well, no, dude, you were awesome. I sucked. I think it's hilarious.
It's the little things, too, like the first few episodes of saying absolutely all the time, things like that.
You know what I'm saying?
You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying?
Definitely.
Yeah.
Just those one little things, but,
it's just like everything. There's a guy here in town that has a pretty good YouTube channel, and he just got his silver plaque, and he had posted it up on Facebook, which means he's accomplished some goals with YouTube. He's got I don't know, 30,000 subs. He's hit 1 million views, different things.
Is that the guy crunching cars?
All he does is crush cars, basically. But he's got great commentary with it. It's down to earth. It's just honest and raw. He's actually got 2 channels, that he rolls basically simultaneous. They're very similar. Yeah, I don't know what's going on. Getting some feedback.
I think it's your beard.
I don't know. Could be. It's out of control. But as I commented and, offered in that congratulations, his immediate response, he texted me back, and it was like, it didn't start that way.
Right.
It took a while to get to that point, and getting everything squared away, getting to a point of feeling comfortable, those kind of things. And so, what are we like, 13, 14 of these in?
Man, I don't even know. Just a matter of staying the course, huh?
Yeah. Getting better equipment.
Yeah.
One day,
man.
I keep looking at Mike's. It's so hard to push the button.
Dude, I don't know why you just don't get one like this. It's not bad.
I got it in my cart.
This one right here?
Yeah, similar one.
Similar to
the
it?
Same brand.
Yeah.
That, and I poked around on some settings on there, so who knows what happened.
Man, messing with the setup, man.
I turned your mic up a little bit.
Did you?
I thought you were too quiet last week.
Now I'm all charged up, so it's going to be all crazy loud.
It's going to be super loud, yeah.
Because last week, man, we started so late. I think it was like 11 o'clock at night, I think, when we got started.
Yeah.
So it was tough. But, again, it goes back to just staying the course, man. We needed to roll one for the week. You'd been sick, so it's just a matter of stepping up, and let's just get it done, man.
Yeah, we're on par tonight.
Yeah, we are, man.
Back on Tuesday,
a little earlier.
Yeah.
My boy's got a little pep bands going on, so I was able to come in a little earlier. So if he calls, I'm going to have to bounce because my boy needs me to pick him up.
Well, let's dig right in then.
Let's do it, man. Yeah, what topic for the night is, man, it's gonna be a good one, but it is
That's a tough one.
It's a tough one, but it's also amazing. It's got everything wrapped up into one, and the topic is marriage. Marriage.
Yes.
That can either sound exciting or it could sound like,
At any given moment, it could be that. At any given
moment, man. Yeah. It's like, at any given moment, it's like, no. Yes.
If you haven't figured it out by now, Keeler and I are both married.
Yeah.
And I would say happily married.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Joyfully married.
I compare my marriage sometimes to being overblessed.
Yeah, overblessed.
And definitely, even with all that, sometimes I take it for granted.
I think really we all do, man. I think we all do at times, man. I think it's just part of it.
Last week when I was sick and in a really grumpy mood and had to cook my own supper, I wasn't very happy about it. And then, was kind of feeling a type of way. Like I was feeling needy. I didn't feel unloved or any of those things. I was feeling needy.
Yeah.
This is going to irritate me.
Yeah,
Maybe I need to be closer.
I don't think it's your beard, man. Anyways, man, I bet no one can even hear it. Typically when we hear feedback, we just record it and we replay it or whatever, and it sounds good.
So my first thoughts when you asked me about doing it was not necessarily marriage, like between man and woman. I automatically kind of like we say it's this biblical thing, and I think about being the bride of Christ in the church and the comparison to that.
Yeah, that is. That would be the main goal, I believe, of marriage. For one, is to have that union and to put Christ first.
Yeah, and
then allow everything else to move. You know what I mean? But that's a struggle in itself for sure. but that is the bride of Christ, the bride to the church to the bride, the church to Christ.
Yeah.
I think that was a turning point for me because, going back, I mean, I'm not even going to go there quite yet, man.
Yeah.
I think I would start with just by the process of being married. To me, is more around that biblical aspect of marriage.
Yeah.
And
it's more than just an agreement. It's covenantal.
Yeah, it is. It is. The way I look at it too is I gave my word to God.
Yeah.
And like I said, that covenant, and that means a lot right there just in itself, man. that, I gave a promise before God, before people, before my wife, you know what I mean? That I was committed, that there's nothing that's going to separate that love.
Right.
And that would be the same, not the same, but to the extent, you know what I mean? That would be an example of the covenant Christ made with the church.
Right.
You know what I mean? He made a promise.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he's not leaving it.
Right.
Yeah.
And, and I take that a lot of times too, just into my marriage itself. You know what I mean? Is why, I stay that course. I don't give up on her, is because I am to love her, just as Christ loved the church.
Absolutely.
And that, I can't even possibly match that, but I can strive to get there.
Yeah.
And that's what I try to do.
I feel like the more I press into to scripture and the more I'm sitting at the feet of Jesus, weirdly enough, the better my marriage goes.
Yeah.
It's not a coincidence.
Yeah.
And the more I am doing those things, it's even on the bad days, the more I love my wife for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And getting there is such a journey.
Oh man, a journey of ups and downs, the roller coaster ride, man.
Well, and you just think of the things that
intense.
happen, early on in Trish and I relationship when her dad passed away, it was really stressful.
Yeah.
And we were not actually married at that point. I mean, we lived like we were married, but we had not gone through with the commitment of that, in that sense. And when those things come up, I mean, it tests you, because obviously guys handle things differently than women. So you have that aspect happening at the same time. It's got to be my mic. I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, I don't either.
Hit that thing a couple times.
So yeah, go ahead, Ryan.
But that's like silly cliche that says what didn't kill you makes you stronger.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I absolutely hate cliches, but they're so true.
Yeah, dude, my marriage is way strong if we look at it like that.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because there's so many. I've been married for, man, see, I'm going to get in trouble here, man. 16 years.
The correct answer is all of them.
Dang it, man. Yeah. Anyways, 15, 16 years. Sorry, baby.
I bet by this time tomorrow,
Yeah, for sure. But, we could probably figure it out. But anyways, man, yeah. And it's been, like I said, a roller coaster ride, man. There's moments, you know what I mean, where I was done. There's moments when she was done, but it's just a matter of, getting back to brass tactics, man, not giving up on one another. And I can honestly say, without my marriage, especially to my wife, man, she is incredible. She is a most amazing woman, man. Probably best woman there ever was, for me, for sure. And I would not know love like I know it now without that union.
Absolutely.
I think it's taught me so much of what love truly is, because you know what I mean? It's loving somebody no matter what, unconditionally love. The bad, the good, and then just loving through it all, and not giving up on one another.
Yeah,
yeah, which is can be very tough at times.
It can be tough.
Yeah.
When I look at the worldly standard of marriage, it's almost as if it's non-existent these days.
Yeah, and
it's there's not a high value to it.
Yeah, and
it's almost looked down upon.
Yeah,
and there's lots of reasons for that. I mean, sin, obviously, and the value of relationship, individualism comes into play. All these things, and I think what I missed out on early on in my marriage was the idea of unity that makes us one.
Yeah,
that Trish and I are not two separate people in that sense anymore.
Dude, and that process of becoming one, I think that is the biggest struggle of it all. You know what I mean? It is that process to become one. I mean, you're taking two individuals, separate individuals, and then you go under God as a union, and you become one flesh. You become one. And I think that is of such intensity, man, that most cannot do it. And then not to mention being equally yoked comes into a huge factor.
Yeah.
And then you get two people that aren't equally yoked. I mean, boy. And then trying to make it through that. I mean, it is very intense.
Oh, yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah.
Lived it, you know.
That's what I mean. Yeah. Yeah.
It is, when I look back, so I've been married and divorced, and now I'm, you know, on my second marriage. And so I have this, you know, idea of my whole life, because I was raised in church and in a church school and stuff, of what marriage should look like. And no matter how hard I tried, it seemed that it never panned out. And part of that did come down to that: do not be unequally yoked to unbelievers. And I never took that in consideration. Other things were priority, kids, you know, the idea of doing it that way and different things. Whereas coming in it with a clean slate with Trish was refreshing. You know, right out the gate, we both had the same goal. It was about recovery.
Yeah.
And I mean, throughout all this different, and I'm sure it's very similar with you and your wife, of God placing obstacles for us to overcome to make us stronger. Mm-hmm. It kind of comes down to those 4 T's, you know, that testing, trials, tribulations, and temptations. And overcoming that, man, on the other end of it feels so good, you know, because temptation is everywhere. I know a lot of people are grass is greener on the other side kind of people. They get hung up in that little squirrely part in their relationship, and they're just ready to chuck it and move on.
I'd say just sprinkle some water on your grass. You know what I mean?
Put some fertilizer to it.
Yeah, I like that. That's a little fertilizer, man. Put some work in. For sure, man. It's not easy.
Nothing works without tending it.
Yeah.
And
you know, nothing without putting the work in. You know, if nothing's going to come easy, and anything great, well, I guess some things will come easy, but anything of worth anything, anything of such great magnitude, especially something that's under God, under Christ, you know, it's not going to be easy, but man, it's going to be worth it.
Oh yeah.
I mean, to persevere through struggles, you know, to maintain, to hold ground, especially on love, especially with another person, man. Yep. I mean, that is huge. I mean, she's on the second line. You know what I mean?
She better be. She damn well better be.
Yeah, for sure, man.
Yeah,
for sure.
Almost on the first line.
Yeah, I mean, you know, that's
she's like,
yeah,
one B.
He says,
I don't think that necessarily. I mean, I don't know. It's such a weird spot when I think of things, you know, because like I don't. In my head right now, as I think about it, like Trisha, she is my queen.
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
You should be giving yourself up for her, man.
I think you should.
Well, just as Christ gave himself for the church.
That's exactly.
Yeah.
There was a guy I'd encountered during one of the marriage teachings, and he was given, you know, his testimony. He'd been married a long, long time, and him and his wife would just argue over stuff, and he would basically like not yell and scream at her, but just kind of bark back at her. However, and he said one day it just hit him. Yeah. He goes, "Wow." And so he would literally, not necessarily that she was watching, but he would take up the posture with his arms out, and just let her throw whatever she had at him, and then say, "I love you." No response other than that.
Man,
I love you.
Yeah. And
he said over time, then she kind of was like, what's happening here? You know? And, you know, I think there is some stuff, you know, if your wife is digging into scripture and doing those things, these things do come naturally easier. Yeah. I mean, for me, it's watching my wife grow is an amazing journey.
Yeah.
And I mean, for her and I in recovery coming out of the gutter, getting to be witness to that is such a testimony.
Yeah.
And it's a testimony to what God's word says about it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I think there's some really, really clear scripture there again that I don't care what version you look at, it's going to say the exact same thing, especially when it comes to how Christ regards his bride, the church, comparably to how we regard our wife.
Yeah.
And if you use that, it blesses you.
It blesses the both of you.
Yeah. Us as unity.
As one flesh. Yeah, as one.
And it filters to your kids and the people around you.
Yeah.
Even through their struggles.
Too. And I think that's, as you look at things, you know what I mean, what's going on. And I think that could be, you know what I mean? Because the divorce rate's so high. Then, you pull the dad out of the household or the mom out of the household, either one, but either one's bad. But especially if you take that male role out of that household, then I think you have a spiral down.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you have a spiral down through society. I mean, everything starts at that family unit.
Oh, yeah.
And if you can hold that unit strong together, and especially with that union under God, under Christ, you know what I mean? Christ in the center of that, how much more powerful and how much stronger this society would be in a whole, in general, just based off the solidarity of the family.
Right.
Because I think that's, you can look at the society in itself right now. I think if the family units were stronger as one, as a whole, then our society, our communities would be better, our societies would be better, or I think our world would be better. I mean,
yeah. No.
Yeah. So
there's a lot, social media wise, podcasts and different things that do touch on that quite often. And it's more cultural, right? So they look at this from this cultural aspect of, why is this culture more successful? And in the top 3 things is that the parents remain married.
Yeah.
It really is. And it really says a lot, really, because when I think of, just looking across the board and from my personal testimony of how things looked, life was different after my parents got divorced. Okay. Life was different for my kids after I got divorced from their mom. Now, obviously, there's things that happen that you just can't go back. You know what I mean? And I was talking with my pastor earlier today about it a little bit. And for me personally, the damage that was going on that would have just kept going, it was finally to a point where it had to be, it was just to the end. But even then, after that, you still have this, not regret, but this, it's still on your mind, like, what could have I done?
Right.
What could have been different? And you play this part out in your head, and then now here it is, my son's 23, and I'm watching him go through that same stuff.
The same
He's
cycle.
not married, but he's in a relationship that's to the end of it. And it's just, you just feel that.
Yeah.
You feel for him because they're just literally, in the same, he's like literally walking in the shoes that I walked in. And it's just to a point, what do you do? And where do you go from here?
See, and and I can't, I don't know, can't speak much on that because, as you look through my family structures, you know what I mean? They've always held with one another, and divorce just doesn't happen.
Right.
For the most part of my family. Now there is some, obviously there's going to be some divorce throughout my, entire extended family. You do see a little bit of it, but it's very small. We just kind of hang in with one another. And, I can say on points where I've been at my lowest, and I imagine my wife could speak on it too, you know what I mean? At those times where you think that might be the only option, man. Dude, I have not once ever heard the Spirit say to me to go.
Right.
It is no.
I get it.
You hold down, you know what I mean? And then that's what comes to me is if I give up on her, it would be just the same as Christ giving up on me. And that's kind of what plays in my mind at those real brutal, down, just beat up moments.
Yeah.
It's just like, if I give up on this marriage, it would be the same as Christ giving up on me.
Yeah.
And then I cannot do that.
No, I totally understand.
And I'm like,
that.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I'm in. Kill me. Dude, I'm like, like your buddy.
I totally get it.
I love you. Of course, I don't do it that well, but I wish I did, man.
Yeah.
I wish I did.
No, I
have
too much of an attitude sometimes.
Yeah, man, for sure. I have my downfalls, my moments. I got things that I can do better at, for sure. And as we talk about it, you know what I mean? That stuff starts hitting. It's like, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could do better, man. I could do better. We could all do better,
Right.
But like I said, anyways, I
When
do love her.
when your focus, yeah, absolutely. When your focus is where it needs to be, all these things kind of seem to do. And there is, like, the closer me and Trish press into God, the more we seem to do that God directs us to do, the more we're tested together and individually. You know what I mean?
I like it.
And there's a lot of purpose to that. Like I said, those obstacles are to what doesn't kill you makes you stronger.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's a great cliche to throw to marriage, but it works.
I mean, it makes sense, Ryan,
Yeah.
for sure. Also, I will say too, like in those moments, like you said, like if you're centered on Christ and you have God there and you're centered under Christ, how much better that relationship is. And then when it's getting off tilt, like you said, it's a good time to look at yourself.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, am I off tilt because my relationship with Christ has gotten farther apart?
Someone's jaking down.
Man, that was
loud
sketchy.
one, isn't it?
Yeah, it was. But am I getting farther apart? Is she getting farther apart?
Right.
You know what I mean? Where is that? What's going on? It's a good time to dissect, and you have to look at it as a whole because you
Right.
are one.
Well, and not to be critical of those things. So if I see that my wife is a little off or something's happening, then I need to give her the opportunity for correction. You know what I'm saying? I don't need to be harsh about it.
Right.
But at the same time, it's just like holding anybody accountable. You know what I mean?
I'm sitting there playing in my head, trying to holler at my wife.
I'm going to stay out of that one.
Oh, that's good stuff.
Yeah. So, like Trish, she went through this deal, and she's done it off and on over the last 3 or 4 years. It's a book. I can't remember the author's name, Power of a Praying Wife. And they have one, Power of a Praying Husband, also. And watching her go through that, honestly, at first was scary for me.
Yeah.
Because I was like, she's going to get better and I'm not. You know what I mean?
That's a good competition to have, almost.
Well, it is a
I'd
healthy
say that's
competition.
healthy competition, man.
But,
Who can love better?
right?
I can one up you. Oh yeah, you love me that much? I got you.
Have you ever heard of the book, The 5 Languages of Love? Mm-hmm. Okay, so
Yes, I have.
Learning that about your partner is also, I mean, to me, was an amazing journey.
Yeah.
And the trial and error of it.
Oh yeah.
There's just certain things that I could care less about, and it's really big deal to Trisha.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
That's usually how it works, it seems, too. It's like the things that you don't find a big deal are a big deal to her, and then vice versa.
Yeah.
So it's like you have to fully be completely selfless
Yep.
in those moments to be like, this means nothing, but for you,
Yeah.
yeah,
It
I
means
got
everything.
you. Yeah,
Yeah.
so I'm gonna have
It's
to. I'm gonna
everything.
go ahead and have to meet you there.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And maybe not just meet you there. I'm gonna have to go all the way over there.
Oh, yeah.
And then I'm gonna have to give 100% today.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And a lot of people, like you say, a lot of people do say 50-50. You know what I mean? And I don't think it's a 50-50 type deal, man. Sometimes it's 100-0. Sometimes
yeah.
it's an 80-20. Sometimes it's a 70-30. And it goes both ways, man.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's just like you're doing life together.
Yeah.
You're doing life together, and not every day is going to be peaches and cream. And sometimes you just have to go all the way over there.
Oh, yeah. If it was, everybody'd do it.
Yeah. But, like I said, in the same time, not to keep on hitting the negative side of things, but at the same time, like I said, there is so much joy and so much marriage, like you said earlier, marriage is beautiful.
Yeah.
I don't even know that there's really a word that can grasp that. I mean, it is amazing.
So there's some great proverbs on it.
Okay,
There is.
Yeah, let's go in. Let's get some.
Proverbs 18, it says, "He who finds a wife finds a good thing and obtains favor from the Lord."
Oh, that's pretty
Right.
good. I like that.
Proverbs 21, "It's better to live in a corner of the housetop than in a house shared with a quarrelsome wife."
True story.
Talk
Probably.
about the
yeah.
yokes of the unbelief.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
But it says, house and wealth are inherited from fathers, and that's talking about earthly fathers, but a prudent wife is from the Lord. And I've firmly believe that God created Trisha just for me.
Yeah.
The weird steps just every little bit of hindsight that put us together, the things that we've overcome together.
Let me ask this. When you met your wife for the first time, could you sense something there?
So
could you see something there?
I knew Trisha
or feel connection
years ago. We have had kids that were similar in age, you know what I mean? Ish, I guess. I mean, they're close in age. And Hutchinson's a small town.
Yeah.
And that, but we never were like super great friends. And so when we reconnected, I would say, it was just, we met at the soup kitchen, and that cracks me up when I say that. Yes. And people look at us funny, but we were there to volunteer to hand out Christmas dinners. And neither one of us necessarily were looking to be in a serious relationship. But, you know, like that first time that we actually sat down in a conversation, I would say I knew right then.
Yeah.
The first moment that we reconnected and met, there was obviously there was a spark there.
That is
with all those people that were around us and stuff, and everything that was going on. It was all, it was a very strange moment. Mm-hmm. Looking back on it now that you mention it, but yeah, that first serious conversation of just talking about life. Mm-hmm. Totally not my type. You know what I mean? Not that I should even have a type, but I mean, I lived a worldly life.
Yeah.
And I had definitely, up till that point, looked for a worldly wife. I wasn't looking for anybody that was seeking after God. I just...
So you could say you met your wife by divine appointment, almost.
100%.
100%, yeah.
The same steps that got me into recovery are parallel with the steps that got me into my marriage. Yeah. For sure.
I could say the same.
Yeah.
I could say the same. Definitely by divine appointment.
Yeah, there's no going back.
It was like a moment of just, like you could feel that connection right then and there. For me, it was.
Yeah. And Trish and I both fought the idea of getting married. You know what I mean?
You know, I always said
I looked at it more as a legal.
Wasn't going to get married.
I looked at it more as a legal document than a covenant. Yeah. And it was even that was an interesting journey in itself. The conviction involved that got us to that point. I mean, we were literally to a point where we weren't even enjoying each other's company anymore. Mm. And there was two ways out of it. It was get married, or separate, and that's what Scripture calls us to do.
Oh,
to
wow!
Be honest,
yeah.
Sitting in a Bible study, and the people we'd been there for Bible study for months and months and months thought we were married.
Right.
We lived, by all appearances, we lived together. We've been through a lot together.
Let me ask you this then, because so you had that relationship. How long? Anyways, so the moment you got married, could you feel, or did you sense, or did you see a shift in, say the attacks or the struggle or what happens there?
So, in a sense, yes. I mean, the attacks started from the moment that we both made the commitment to do it.
Yeah.
And that was early on in 2019. And we were going to get married during spring break. We had already decided we were going to do it in Arkansas, and it didn't work out.
Right.
And in the end, it's kind of funny how that works because we wanted the kids to be there, if they wanted to be. And so, yeah. So then when we actually went in front of a judge, it was it was just me, Trisha, and the judge. Okay.
Yeah.
And this judge in particular would not allow anybody else in anyways. But he asked us a few questions, and he realized that we were Christian. And Trisha can remember the words word for word what he said. But what he said, he had me in tears, dude.
Yeah.
Just thinking about that, I can feel that emotion. It brings me to tears now of the seriousness of what was getting ready to happen and the attacks that would happen. Mm. And his basis of his words were, I've done a lot more divorces than I have marriages.
Yeah. True story.
Don't be a statistic. Yeah. And if you really say that you're doing this to be godly, then do it to be godly.
Yeah. Don't give up.
This isn't just a piece of paper to y'all.
Yeah. And and it's just not a matter of giving up, because I say don't give up. It's not a matter, it is just a matter of not giving up, but it's also making steps to do better.
Yeah.
And working on that relationship, like you said, under God, under Christ, and building that relationship, and then allow everything else just to flourish.
Yeah.
Fully surrendering.
Absolutely.
Yeah, fully surrendering.
There was a time after we were married where I was really struggling with God. We were kind of in between churches and stuff, and I love how God puts stuff in front of you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I do.
I love reading the Gospels. Matthew 5, 6, and 7 is where I spend most of my study, and all of a sudden I'm in 1 Peter 3, and it says, "Likewise, husbands, live with your wives in an understanding way, showing honor to the woman, since they are heirs with you of the grace of life, so that your prayers may not be hindered."
I know, isn't that wild, man?
And I dove into that, of this idea of, my wife is very prayerful. Now, up until recently, she had a prayer room. Yeah. You know what I mean? And she's mostly a practicing Orthodox tradition. And the thought that things that I were doing was hindering her prayers crushed me.
Oh, dude, that's tough. Dude, yeah, like my wife, man, she has, like you say, your wife has that prayer room, or did, imagine she already has a spot anyways for it already. My wife does as well, man. It's just a perfect little spot. That's a bench, man. It's like, you know what I mean? Just, she's got verses up, prayers and everything, you know what I mean? And I could probably do better as far as looking at that as an example.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? I have a prayer board, you know what I mean? But as far as taking it to that level of prayer, I think my wife's prayer is just off the hinges, man.
I would definitely, just based on what Trisha said, praying with your wife, it's a different level for sure.
Yeah.
But yeah, that whole idea of the things that I was doing, or my lack of commitment to God, or any of those things, were hindering her prayers.
Yeah, now that I sit there and now look back too, thanks for this one, because now I'm feeling it too myself. I'm sitting here like, man, I probably could jack some stuff up. Yeah. You know what I mean? For myself, for her, for the kids. You know what I mean? I've been hindering prayers, man.
Well, it goes to anybody. Yeah. But we're looking at this idea of this relationship, and when I got back on track, it was through an encounter, overcoming some things that I had Trish was well aware of it, actually, weirdly enough. I thought I was hiding stuff from her well. And go to this encounter, and it, all hits you all at once. Yeah. And
dude, a woman's intuition is on point, man.
I felt like the biggest piece of shit.
Yeah.
I did.
Yeah.
The shame and the guilt did not even compare to the conviction of that part of that, literally, that what she's been begging for may not happen because of something I do. Right? Yeah. That's tough to swallow.
That's real hard to swallow.
And man, you can't tell me, for me, I've never loved anybody like Trisha. And so you think of all the gifts or material things or any of these things that you can do that are nice, and that when you take it to the spiritual level, it changes everything.
Oh, yeah, as it should.
The reality of the unity, and here I was trying to cause, unbeknownst to myself, was causing this disunity and separation. And the harder she tried, it was the more I bucked the system.
Yeah. Dude, I see that both ways too, man. And I think that's that attack. Like I said earlier, you have to come with that 80-20 or that 50-50, 40, 40-60 or whatever that is. And it goes both ways, because sometimes I'll be on point, or I'm doing something, then I'm getting bucked. Yeah. And then I see her doing something, then I'm getting bucked.
Somehow or another. It goes
both ways, and it's weird. But if you're both on that track, man, dude, it becomes such a powerful reckoning force for the kingdom. It's unreal. And I think that now I'm sitting here talking about it, man, you see that. And if you're both on point, but I guess that would be why the enemy attacks so fiercely at those unions, is because the enemy knows if those couples are as one, moving in such a way, the wave of that Christ-like effect that ripples out from there.
Oh, it does.
It's just huge. So of course he's gonna buck one of you or the other. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Somehow between y'all, you got to equal 100.
Yeah, dude.
If I'm at 80 and she's at 20, we're still at 100. And
Ooh,
that's
I
one of
like
the things
that.
when Trish and I first started dating. One of the things, and I'm not, I'm a complementarian, okay? And that's the husband is a head role and the wife is in a submissive role. That's not about being domineering or those things, but one of the things I expressed to Trisha right out the gate was, we're hand in hand in this. Yeah. I might be a few steps ahead, she might be a few steps behind, but the idea of hand in hand is right beside me.
Yeah.
Whatever, and there's times where she's steps ahead of me, and but we still have that handhold.
Right.
And to not, I'm not going to let anybody or anything break that.
Yeah.
You know, and building that trust took a while on both our ends because of things that happened in our past, for sure. And there's times now, I mean, I have to trust that my wife has my best interest in her heart when she comes at me with something that makes me feel uncomfortable. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I do.
We're getting ready to load up and go to a marriage encounter, and I'm looking forward to it, but not looking forward to it. Right. Right. It's nothing against anything. I just am hesitant to put myself out there, because what my idea of men's encounter, what it takes to surrender there. You know what I mean? Yeah. And then my pride says, I don't need this. Yeah. And so there is that little bit of me that's like, but for her, it was like the greatest gift when I sent her the email that said we were going, dude. I mean, you want to talk about pure joy. And, you know,
lightening up.
Yeah. And it's not that there's anything that's necessarily terrible going on. It's just what's good can be better. And the idea is just like you say, better in every way, every day. I mean, these people that are on top, they're not on top of anything. It's because they're better than they were yesterday. They keep striving. There is no ceiling. No. Mm-mm. You know,
the ceiling does not exist.
And that's the same way I have to apply it to my relationship with Trisha. And I mean, just sitting back, I mean, like I could just go on and on and on of how amazed I am at myself and her for just our growth together.
Oh, for sure, man.
And
if you go back all those years and just see how we've, I mean, just changed and evolved, and you know what I mean? Just that, and I think a lot of people miss that too. It's just like, we're going to change over time, man. I'm a totally different person. She's a totally different person. But at the same time, we're changing together, and we're loving each other unconditionally. Absolutely. And we're working through those struggles. We're holding ground, you know what I mean? And just moving through. And you see so many blessings, maybe not in the short term. Like if you just look at things in the short term, especially if they're going rough and you're looking at those things, they're gonna magnify. But if you really sit back and just see over the years how much things have progressed and how much better you truly are for each other, or just her as her and me as me, you know what I mean? It's just unreal.
Well, and for us, we've had some starting over points.
Oh yeah, dude. And for sure.
Not relationship wise necessarily, but you know, we made a decision to move one time to Arkansas, and when we came back and Jeffrey wasn't going to school, we had to make a decision to stay. And our idea when we moved down there was like, we sold everything. Mm-hmm. We were going to totally start over, and that was through COVID, and it was crazy. And coming back that October, we started with nothing, a couple weeks worth of clothes. Yeah. And definitely was stressful. But there again, it was the weirdest thing of a couple of prayers. And we stayed with her daughter for a month, got our first little house, and didn't have anything. Prayed for a couch and a bed. And then all of a sudden we had too much stuff in a tiny house. Yeah. You know, my kid moved in with us, and it's just strange when I look back on those things and how much stress and concern and all these things were going on. But at the same time, like, our marriage was getting stronger and stronger and stronger. And our reliance was different. Like, I had to rely on her for so much, especially through when I wasn't working and trying to get on disability, and just how powerful that is.
Dude, it
gets
is,
me.
dude, it does, man. And like you said, like I love that too through prayer and stuff like that. Because I can think back on moments, man, where I just don't have the words, and I'll be in a situation where I'm just completely falling apart and struggling, and my wife will be there, man,
Yeah.
and she will pray the prayer that I need,
Yeah.
and just know what needs to be said in that moment, and just, pray over me. I bet, dude, I bet I for sure know my wife probably prays over me when I'm sleeping. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just wild, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. And to see that change. And, I like how you said, like, starting over. I know you were just talking about, starting over in different places, but I would say that goes on a relationship level just the same, like with my wife, because there's moments, throughout the years where it was just like, it's just getting wrecked. And it's just like, let's just, we're going to start it over, man.
Mm-hmm.
We're going to start it over.
Yeah.
And, and then it's just starting over and starting back, man, and just going back to the basics, man, and then just working through and basically a brand new relationship, man, with the same woman, dude.
Oh, yeah.
That blows my mind, too. But I think a lot of people miss that. They're like, you know what I mean? Like, well, let's go ahead and end it. You know what I mean? Yeah. Let's just end it. And then they have to start a relationship with a whole nother person. Why can't that relationship just start with that same person over again? You know what I mean?
I think one of the greatest things for me was, and I try not to, I'm a forward thinker and those kind of things, but when Trish and I were just sitting there, just hand in hand, I could see myself sitting with her in 30 years.
Yeah.
And being just as content as I was right then. Mm-hmm. And that's something I definitely did not have in my first marriage.
Right, yeah.
It really was a legal binding thing. It was about the kids. It was kind of about making it look good in the little town you're in.
I love how you say that,
man. What I'm saying?
Yeah. Because I've had that same too, where I can, like, always, the visions that, what I mean, you see, and I've seen that, and I don't want to speak too much on it just because I don't want to wreck the vision.
Right.
But
I don't think you could. You'd have to really work hard to wreck it.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. But I've seen into that, you know what I mean? And I see us together. I see family together. I see, you know what I mean? I just see so much just greatness, man. And it's just like in those times, it's like that's what I have to focus on. I have to see that. I have to have faith in her. I have to have, see the best in her. I have to see the best in us, and then just, you know what I mean, and maintain that.
Oh yeah.
And I got, the only way I'm able to do that is through Christ, man.
Yeah.
I don't know how you make it without it. Like, I don't know.
I just don't think you do.
I don't know, because I was having that discussion with someone the other day, and I asked them too, and they said basically they would look more as a marriage as just, to get those tax breaks, those tax cuts, you know what I mean, as far as on a financial side. But I'm like, dude, I would not. But then again, I think too, like, I don't know, maybe the marriage is different. It's probably not as taxed as heavily by the enemy. You know what I mean? Because you technically don't have a marriage under God. With Christ, it's a sinner. I don't know. I really can't speak on that much because I guess I don't know.
Because I don't know, yeah.
But I was just sitting here thinking about that. Like, that's the only way I'm able to make that.
Yeah. There's definitely a noticeable difference, though.
Yeah.
To me, I have good friends that have the greatest of intentions, but they do not believe in God.
Yeah.
They believe in a God that they make up in their head, don't get me wrong, but they're not pressing into prayer and scripture. They're not living a biblical marriage. I guess,
yeah, and that goes back to what I was saying too. If you have a marriage, under God, under Christ, and you are that power couple for the kingdom, and you're going to be attacked. So I guess
some of it comes down to how you measure success, also, I suppose. You know what I mean?
Yeah, true, man.
Like I said, they're great friends. They're some of the best people I know.
Yeah.
The difference is that their life of eternity looks different than mine.
Yeah.
And I guess I have to be all right with that. I've tried to convince them otherwise. Yeah.
I'm okay with it for sure too, man.
And I don't know, but at the same time, the best I can do for them is try to lead by example, and that, and pray for them. I always go back to Dwight Moody. He carried a list with 100 people that were unsaved, and by the time
I think about that a lot too.
All 100 of them had committed their life to Christ. 96 when he died, and the last 4 at his funeral. That's a pretty good success rate over, I don't know, I guess it would be 30 years. Now that guy, he was known for prayer.
Mm-hmm.
That would be much rather what I'm known for than some of the things that people remember about me, for sure. You know,
And thinking about on prayer too, like I see, my relationship to begin with, and other relationship as well, other marriages specifically, like in those hard times, if I take moments and I just sit down and pray for my relationship, but especially like I would say for others as well, other marriages, like I see really going through turmoil, and if I really make that a focus point for a period of time, dude, you can honestly see changes.
Yeah.
Just in those unions.
Absolutely.
It's wild, man. So prayer is powerful.
It's great to witness that.
Yeah, and sitting
Such good testimony.
Yeah, dude, sitting here thinking about our friend Jerry. You know what I mean? He had posted the other day, and I can't remember the statistic behind it, but he said couples that pray, or married couples that pray together, the percentage of success in those marriage was like hands down, man.
Yeah.
Like I was like blown away by that statistic.
It's above 90%.
Dude, it was wild. Yeah, it blew me away. I was like, wow, man.
So in Genesis, I mean, it really speaks when it says of the woman, this is bone of my bone, flesh of my flesh.
Ooh, yeah.
That's such a unifying statement. And when you think of those things, man, it brings it to life in this idea of that, what God put together, let no one separate. All these scriptures come to my mind of how this plays out, and there's going to be people, especially from the world, that attack the idea of marriage, and the individualism and those things, and the way that you measure success.
Yeah, and a lot of times I think people are a little too quick, especially outsiders, man. I see that a lot just in people struggling, and they'll be like, you know what I mean, I'm done. And then you'll have people that back that up. Like, yeah, you guys just need to separate for a while. Take a break from one another. You know what I mean? Leave her, or leave him.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm always like, nah, man, you fight for that.
Yeah.
You fight for that. You fight for each other. Fight. Like battle.
You have to.
You know what I mean? Battle.
Yeah.
You should. You know what I mean? I don't know why you would want to give up on something that's so powerful, that's such an amazing, beautiful, just concept, relationship, everything.
It's painful.
Well, yeah, man.
Yeah.
There's a lot of pain there, man. But at the same time, something with so much pain is going to have the exact counter, man. It's going to be something of truly amazement.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
No, there's some definite truth in those words.
Oh, man.
Definite truth in those words.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not to mention all the stuff that comes from it. I mean, now it's about grandkids. You know what I mean?
Yeah. See, then you have that too. As my kids get older, man. Yeah. I don't have grandkids yet, man. So. Yeah.
Yeah. I get it. I'll share some of mine with you.
Yeah, for sure.
We went from one to counting them on two hands real quick. It just happens. And I don't know, just this idea of I just can't see it any other way now. And
I couldn't see life really without my wife, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like doing life together. Like I just don't, like if she's around, I'm with her, man.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love doing stuff with Trisha.
Yeah, and I wouldn't want to do life without her, just because I just don't see it.
There for a long time, when we first were together, I drove truck. She went with me every day.
Yeah.
And then we got to a point where we both took the same job, and even our head boss said, "This is a first for me." And it was interesting, the dynamic, because we fed off each other. Mm-hmm. If I was having a rough day, no one else in that office could get me back on point. But she could say something real slick, real fast, boy, and I was ready to roll again, And then it got to where I physically couldn't do it anymore.
Yeah.
And she was there by herself for about 6 weeks, and it just wasn't the same.
Yeah.
And so she finally told our boss, the guy, a super nice guy. We loved working for him, and we still stay in contact somewhat with him today. But he was impressed with the dynamic, because his concern was if we were having a bad day at home, we're going to have a bad day at work.
Yeah.
And it just never panned out that way. In fact, sometimes we would have a bad day at home and work would bring us together.
Mm.
And we both made a commitment, that our job's our job, that we're not going to let these things affect us. Yeah. And so then, you spend 8 hours in the same office, and kind of you can work through some stuff.
Yeah, but you can. I don't know that I can work with my wife on that level, man. I just don't know. I don't know.
I love it.
I might be able to. I know. I've never really tried it. I never tried it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I guess I do. I don't know.
Yeah.
I guess I work with her daily all the time, anyways, just in life. So I imagine you could work it out and work.
Yeah.
It's just never tried it before.
I mean, like I said, sitting on the beach, we've talked numerous times that once the grandkids are older, going back in a semi.
Yeah.
And just having her roll with me, and then when it's my time off, if we wanted to be in New York, we'll get a load to New York, and then when the weekend hits, you get a hotel or do whatever you want. You got your 36 hours off. You wanted to get a load to Florida, California, wherever you want to go. You just and so that was like the cheap way of RVing.
You're getting paid to travel, really. Yeah, I mean, you're getting paid for the load.
I have a good friend that he has a super nice semi. He's got I don't even know how big the sleeper is, but I mean, him and his wife, that's all they do.
Just travel.
And he'll work like 21 days straight, though, and then take a week off. But, she just loads up with him with their little dog, and he dispatches his own truck. And, I mean, it's oh, gosh, like it's about as big a sleeper as you can get. He hauls flatbed. And it's nice.
When I'm at work, because I do a lot of logistics, and you'll see those drivers come in, and they got the sleepers like you're saying on there, the real nice ones, and they got the and they'll pull up, get the load. While they're getting the load, you'll see his wife out there walking the dog, just hanging out around, getting loaded. So
Now there was one day that Trish was with me, and I was grumpy at her, and we didn't talk for about 400 miles. And I missed my turn. I had to turn around, and it was a T intersection. And about the only way I could get around was to back over this stop sign. And she saw me do it all. So the first word she said to me in that 300-something miles was, you hit that stop sign, right? And that was the end of the argument. We were good after that.
That's classic. I love it, man. For sure.
It's such a great story. It was a long 300 miles.
Because you think about moments where it's just so tense. Mm-hmm. And just like
she couldn't go anywhere.
Yeah, it just,
you know what I mean?
And it just the littlest thing can just change everything.
Yeah, it's not like I'm going to get out and walk home.
Yeah.
South Oak City. But when I backed over that stop sign, man, it was funny. She saw the whole thing in the mirror.
Classic.
She's like, I thought you were a good driver.
Yeah.
I said, I've seen it. There was no way around it. I didn't even care. I just ran over the stop sign.
Yeah, man.
Went back to the elevator. But
You ready to wrap up, Ryan?
I think we have to probably.
Man, for
it's probably
sure.
Pet band's about over.
Yeah, I imagine so. Coming to an end, I bet. Yeah.
What a great topic.
Yeah, it was good, man. We could probably talk on it for quite some time, but
Oh, yeah, dude. It's such a worthwhile thing. Such a beautiful, beautiful thing. And the more days that go by, most of the people in my life are, married. Mm-hmm. And having that time with other married couples is so, so valuable also.
Yeah.
My work lately has kind of hindered that, but definitely miss that. Getting to see other people's marriages blossom, whether they're young or old, or if they're first I don't care how many times, but when they figure it out and they're doing it the right way, and they're doing it under this covenant with God as the head. I mean, it's one of the most beautiful pictures I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And makes life worth living.
Mm-hmm.
And it's definite something that I look forward to doing again tomorrow and the next day and the next day.
I like it. As one.
As one, for sure.
As one. Yeah.
Yeah. Great topic.
Great topic, man, for sure.
Yeah. We love you guys.
Love you too.
Yep.
Love you guys for sure. One love. My man.
Yeah. Definitely.
We'll see you, Ryan. See you, fellas. See you, ladies, gentlemen. YouTube.
YouTube.
One love.
That's it.
Shalom.